Going live soon.
Yeah, it should be live by now.
Should I click over here and check?
You can. Is that one go there? Yeah, you're live.
Yay, I'm live. Hey, everybody on the internet, I'm live. Yay! I unplugged it.
Yeah.
I'll plug it back in. $9 in the morning.
Close to the door.
All right, I am going to talk today about COD, the Conference Organizing Distribution. Who has never used COD before? Who has used COD before? Yes. Yes. For those of you who don't know, I am Mathew Connerton. I own a company in Asheville, North Carolina. We make websites, go figure. It's called Aspiring Web. You can email me, contact us through there, Twitter me, tweet me if you have any more questions, or just talk to me at lunchtime or something. So I have done a lot of sessions at Drupal camps before. I've talked on features, Ajax, Flask back in the day. I've started to talk about COD recently, so I could introduce it to people that have never used it, and for people that have used it, get over this mantra that COD is terrible, because COD is not the worst. COD is not the worst. In Drupal 6, COD was beautiful. It got us what we needed, a conference website out of the box. It was pretty feature complete. People used it for years, and then they said, hey, let's migrate it to Drupal 7. And we finally have a beta, like a few months ago. So yay! It hasn't been very successful in the beginning. There were tons of bugs. Drupal camps were passing sites around because one person finally sort of got it working and gave it to the next guy, and they sort of got it working better and gave it to the next guy. And it wasn't until the end of last year that some organization and momentum has been moving forward in COD. COD is a fantastic platform, and now that we have that momentum, now that stuff is getting fixed, now that it's decently stable, people should use it because it's not terrible. So why do we want to use COD? The same reason we use Drupal Commerce when we need a commerce site, or when we might use Commons if we need a social networking site. We don't want to write this stuff from scratch. That's a pain in the butt. COD comes with a lot of features out of the box that most of your conferences or major events are going to need. And that's the great thing about COD is it's called the Conference Organizing Distribution because that's what its original intent was. But actually, it's more of an event distribution. It's not just for putting on conferences. You could use COD to put on a Britney Spears concert and collect tickets for that. Any type of event or any type of major event with sub-events, like a Drupal camp is not just one event. You have, the camp itself. You may have paid trainings. You may have some optional after parties that people pay for to go on. So it's actually a collection of events. And COD helps you with that. It provides a lot out of the box. And there's a community of developers around it, especially this year. We had a major sprint in Austin where we got a lot done. We pushed an alpha out at that time. And now there's fantastic community support around it. So much so that Jacob Perry and his wife Emily, two of the major contributors to COD, and he's kind of driving it, they have left working for Aquaware and MongoDB respectively and got jobs with the Drupal Association, where their sole goal is going to be working on this distribution and aligning CODzilla, what the organization is using, with what's in core. So even like Lee said, give some support to the association. They're actually putting money into this right now, starting Monday. So features of COD. We have event registration via the ticket module, which was a fork of the entity registration module. So we could kind of take it in a different direction, and it is very similar to Eventbrite. That was one of the main requirements here. We didn't want to use Eventbrite because of the fees they charge, and it's off-site, but they do it really, really good. So we wanted to match that system of how they had different ticket types, and I want 2 of these and 1 of these and 3 of these, and add them to my cart. Commercial. Session and schedule management. You can set up all your different section types, your schedule item types. We have a schedule manager, so you can set up your time slots or your rooms and your different days. And pretty soon we're even going to have a drag and drop scheduler. Woo! Herschel, me, Roger, Will. You already met all of this. Sorry. Sponsor management. Maintaining sponsors is kind of easy now. You know, they got their content done. There's not much to maintaining sponsors, but you got a nice dashboard for seeing who's your sponsor. You know, you can set them up if they're a lead and convert them and sell your sponsorships online. Social user interactions, community listing, profile fields, what's your Twitter handle, news items, you know, for putting out news posts, drop-in paid event support. Out of the box, so if you're selling tickets, it's stupid easy to do. And there is even a responsive default theme based on Omega 4. So COD has a lot of features out of the box. And one feature that's not on here is that COD is now multi-event. That means every conference you do or every major event you do every year, or maybe you do it 4 times a year, you don't have to do a brand new website for each event. COD utilizes on a very, very low level, don't freak out anybody, organic groups to be the event maintainer, conference container of all the event stuff. And so in Asheville, on the organizer Drupal in Asheville, we launched our site on COD, the latest version, and now to do our 2015 site, all we had to do was create content, new event. Put in the details and we're done. We're ready to take sessions, we're ready to take sponsors, we're ready to take everything. It's all there, ready to go, because we already built out the site and configured it how we want it. And so Mongo, they invested a lot because they put on a lot of events, and it's easy for them to have this community event site where next conference here, conference over there, this dev days, this over here. It's just creating an event, and everything's self-contained. So multiple events is a really big part of COD. A lot of people were resistant to the whole OG thing up front. All it is right now is basically an entity reference field. You know, this section is in this event. This sponsor is part of this event. That's all it is at the end of the day. But it's actually quite invaluable. I love it.
Someone who organizes events, that's just awesome.
It is fantastically awesome. I love it. And really the only thing I've heard people say, well, what if I want a different theme for my new event? We can show you how we do Asheville, but there's a module called Key, where you can say from on this organic group or any content of it, use this theme instead of that one. So if you really want to do a different theme, it's quite easy to do. So we're going to look at installing COD real quick. Let's pop that open in a new tab. What's going on here? Oh no, I broke the internet. What did I do? Stop that. Go back. Be good. So here we're going to install COD. Is that looking okay? There it is. These are all nice little videos. I'm putting in, this is the installation profile. So after you've gone through setting up the database, yada, 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 you come and the first thing COD has you do is create your first event. So we're creating Drupal Camp Asheville. This is actually me creating the Asheville site and doing a screencast as I was making it. So Drupal Camp Asheville 2015. All right, I lied. This is when I was demoing the 2015 site. So Drupal Camp Asheville 2015 is the best Drupal camp pretty much ever. Only second to Chattanooga. So right below, when you're creating it, here we have our optional event features. So an important thing about COD is if you don't plan to have online boss registration at your event, don't turn on the boss module. It's pretty simple. If you're not selling tickets, don't turn on the paid events feature. You know, a lot of people had issues with COD because there were so many features and it's all over the place, and why are these 30 modules here? Well, you turn them on. So only turn on what you need. What we see right here is self-scheduling on conference style, the boss, show pages of attendees, that's the community part, news items for events. You know, if you already have a blog, or maybe you're just doing a, MailChimp that sends news off, don't turn on the news feature if you don't need it. Paid events, additional fields such as dietary needs and t-shirt sizes added to the registrations. A set of links to the user profiles. What else do we got? Registration options to attendees, scheduling for sessions, bots, etc. Managing moderated sessions, session items, and voting, and manage event sponsors. So we've set up COD so if maybe you want to use COD for your sessions and your sponsors, but you really want to use Eventbrite, no problem. Don't turn on paid events, don't turn on event registration, but use COD for the rest of it. Maybe you want to do the reverse. There's some other scheduling tool, or maybe you don't have a schedule at all. It's just a one-ticket paid event. Don't turn on schedule, don't turn on log, anything like that. We've really made these modules pretty self-contained. So let's hit play here. I'm going to come in here, turn on a couple of options. We'll skip ahead because we started a little late. So now it's going to install. It's installing, it's installing, it's installing. Here we go, look at that. It's going, it's going, it's going, it's going. Whew, that's a fast install. Yep, is that it? Just, there we go. And then here's where I land up. On the event page for my first event, we see programs, speakers, sponsors, the COD beta. This is the base theme that was installed with COD out of the box that's based off of Omega 4. So that's installing COD. It's quite easy. You're going to go to drupal.org/project/COD. This COD, there's actually two projects for for COD. One is the distribution itself, which if you're starting a new site, this is what you want to do. And come over here, and you're going to grab one of the archives for the alpha release. That's your entire Drupal site, ready to go with the profile. The other module, or suite of modules, is the COD_support. This is where all the COD stuff actually lives, all the modules themselves. What this means, though, is if you have an existing site and you want to put COD on it, go grab COD support, drop it in, and you can start. You have to enable a few base modules, but you can add all this functionality to an existing site. I just did it recently for a nonprofit. We had an old Drupal 6, then a Drupal 7, old version of COD subsites for their conferences, and then their main nonprofit. This year, or for the 2015 conference, we'll just slap the COD on top of their main site, so it's all a single site, and it went quite smooth. The only thing I had to do was they already had an events node content type, but there was like 2 nodes in it, so we deleted the node, wiped out the content type, so there wasn't a machine name conflict, and it fit in quite nice. So that's where you go and get COD, and we will continue on talking about the features of COD. So event registrations, you can have multiple registrations for one registrant. So I'm going to register for the paid training, the camp, and the super duper after party where I get free t-shirts and beer poured down my throat. Paid and free events on one page. So maybe your event is free for anybody, but you have a individual sponsorship for $20 or $50. You get a ticket and a t-shirt, and they give you. You can sync user profile fields and registrations are static, separate from the user data. So what that means is my user object, I have profile fields, my Twitter handle, and my t-shirt size, and my first name, and my last name. But each registration, a ticket to a conference is an entity, it's this object that also will have some of the same fields like name and last name and dietary needs, and we separated that because maybe those change over time. And so if you changed a setting over here, we didn't want to go back and change all that historical data over there. And so there's an option to automatically copy that data over to the tickets, and it creates accounts for registered users upon registration. So if you're anonymous, or I'm registering on Lee's behalf, and if he doesn't have an account already, we'll create one for him, send them an email. So this lets somebody, in the office register 10 people for an event on behalf of them. It will automatically create their accounts. It will automatically send them emails. And it's pretty simple. So here is Drupal Camp Antarctica. This is the default event that comes with COD. And it shows we have 2 ticket types here. The first one, the description, the quantity. The second one, the quantity and register. So this is what a free event registration looks like. Here is, when you get to the registration screen, you put in just like a Eventbrite. We put in my information as the person registering, the email on behalf of people, my email, my name, and then we put in the details for each ticket. So here's ticket 1, and then did the ticket 2 right here, and then register. So this is what it looks like on our Drupal Camp website pretty early on. We had our early bird camp registration, which was $15. You could put in your quantity. I want 1 of these. I want 3 of these. Then we had the individual sponsorship. Maybe, I'm going to register my guy for the early bird, but I'm really cool, so I'm going to get an early bird. So I register one of those as well. And when I click on register, again, it'd bring us to this next screen. I'm logged in, so it already grabs my email address. I already filled out my first name and last name from my user object, and then all those registration fields were right there below it. Here's an example of the Nerd Camp, which is New England Drupal Camp or something, which shows the different registration types. So they have a free attendance to their conference, but they also had an attendee plus, where you got an attendee badge and a bag and ticket for 3 days, and you got a contributor, which was even more, and you got all that plus this. And so here on a single page, you can set up from free to advanced different types of registrations. So it's very versatile. It can handle pretty much any type of registration types you need. So I'm going to show you how to edit an event. So we just created my Asheville Camp website. Now I need to put the details into it. So I'm going to click on this. So here's my website. Is this full screen? There, close enough. And so I've just clicked edit, and I already have a title and a description. First thing I'm going to do is put in the date. So I'm making my 2015. Let's pretend like I didn't do this already. I'm making the website for the first time, my 2015 website. It's going to be on August 21st, 2015 to the 23rd. 8 a.m. to whatever. Next fields we have, and I'll skip ahead since we have limited time. So here's our program field, and this is just an arbitrary text field for, the overall program of your conference. Saturday, we're going to learn. Sunday, we drink. Very straightforward camp overview, and this is shown on the Programs tab and the Schedule tab off to the side. Omega 4, the theme we have, and the layout, we're using panels and Panelizer. So if you're into that thing, you're going to love it. If you're not, well, too bad. Learn it. It's awesome. So here we are starting with the ticket types, and let me hit escape here because I was talking. Here we go. So I had my title, my description, I put in the dates, and now I'm going to put in the different types we have available. So the first ticket we have available is the early bird registration. And I'm going to click this checkbox that says copy the user registration fields to my ticket registration fields. Here I put in a description. These details are what we saw on that registration page, the title, the price, the description. That's what's going to appear there. Availability is when can people start registering for this ticket and when can they stop. So this is how you can stagger your early bird starts now and ends a month before or 2 months before the conference, and then normal registration starts 2 months before the conference and ends the day of the conference. And maybe you have a on-site conference registration that's $100 more. so they register early. You just set up another ticket type. There's lots of fancy fields for setting up total quantity. If there's a limit to that, let's skip ahead to those. So is there a minimum number of tickets they must buy? Is there a maximum per order they're allowed to buy? The product drop down is if this is a paid event, I have my paid event turned on. So you just select that and we'll see products later. The default registration state, if this is a free event, just that that's completed. So the second they register, boom, they're registered. If it's a paid event, we want that to be pending. So after they pay, we can come back and set that as completed. And then we have the enabled. Is this ticket enabled or not? So you can, get in here just like you can get nodes ready to go, but keep them unpublished. You can get tickets kind of set up, but unpublish them. What we did was we set up tickets for our paid trainings kind of as stubs, and we had 3, but we actually only ended up having 1 paid training, so we didn't need the other ones. But we set it up ahead of time, so all we had to do was enable it and put in some details. So I'm going to put in another item here, and you see me putting in the normal. And here I'm staggering June 1st is when this availability starts. And I made the other one end on June 1st as well. And this goes all the way to the end of August. So we're going to skip ahead. We have a field here called Session Details. There's a session view, while you're still accepting sessions. What's the default view people should see? The default, unprocessed or accepted. Normally it's just unprocessed, so that's what I checked there. And then we come down and we're going to save. So now we have available dates in the availability. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to fix that availability for that first ticket and put it back to actually make it available and hit save, and then we'll see that first ticket on the screen. And there it is. So there's my early bird registration, free event. Any questions so far on tickets? Hit me.
You said there was a field that limits the total number. If you have an early bird, then subtract how many registered from that on the next one. So if you have a total of 100 seats available, 20 people do an early bird.
Yes.
So it limits them the next one to 80.
I don't know the answer to that question. I assume the answer is yes. You can set up the total availability of tickets. But if I buy 20 and I hit register complete, and then you go in and try and buy 81, I don't know if it's going to send a validation error to you and say, hey, there's only 80 available. That's a good question. I will write that down. I will ask Jacob that question and someday tell you the answer.
So I guess on a similar note to the last question, how are you guys building the structure for limiting the amount of tickets to a preset number? Is that done through a contributed module or something custom?
Magic. I didn't write that part. I don't know the answer to that question. I assume it would be rules handling that. Since it's these are fields. Based on what I see as a developer, I see fields on an entity and logic. So I'm guessing they did rules. And if they didn't, we'll slap them. So let's escape out of this. Whoops, no, that's not it. Left 11. All right, so that's editing evented. Anyone? No, who cares? Next. So free ticket registration. We can see what that looks like real quick. So here I'm going to register for a free event. I want 2. I'm going to click register. So as the person buying these tickets, I put in my name, my last name, and then I can put in the information for the people who actually get the tickets. And the only reason that ticket registration state is there is because I did this demo as admin for some stupid reason. So I registered myself for ticket 1, and then I'm going to register myself for ticket 2 because I really want to go to Drupal Camp Asheville 2015. There you go. I want 2 lunches. So there it is. Free registration. It's done. If I come over here to the event dashboard and click on tickets, I see I got 2 available. And then if I click on the ticket registrations, I see the 2 that are currently pending. Then I can click on view and see that ticket information. So pretty straightforward. Each ticket type, well, let me back up a second. Each ticket type is its own entity, its own entity bundle. So you can have unique fields to your ticket type. So the free registration, it's free. We just want their name and last name. But the advanced registration gets a t-shirt. So for the t-shirt, advanced registration t-shirt field. And the super advanced one, they get lunch and a t-shirt. So we give them the t-shirt field and the lunch field. So each ticket type is its own bundle type. So they're going to have their own fields, which means any type of data for any type of ticket you need to select is very easy to do through this screen right here, tickets. We have our view registration, our managed fields, and our managed displays. Very similar to every other type of entity. So let's, and here's where I show that. So here's the first name and last name, and yeah. Any questions about entities, the ticket entities themselves, fields? Pretty straightforward, very easy. I like it. Let's stop doing that. So next, we're going to talk about commerce support. We are using Drupal Commerce, obviously. Who uses Uber Cart anymore? So paid event, multiple event registration types. You can have paid sessions and paid sponsors. And we're obviously using Drupal Commerce. So out of the box, people can buy events and people can buy sponsorships. I'm going to show you the former. I didn't do a video on the latter, but it's pretty straightforward. When you're listening to me and watching this stuff, one thing to keep in mind is at the end of the day, all of this is Drupal, and especially with the commerce part, you know, anything you can do with commerce, you can do on your. So people are like, well, I want to upsell stuff. You know, why can't God do that? Well, because that's not event stuff, but commerce can do that. So go get the commerce upsell module and install it, and now you can upsell other events and other stuff that's going on. So, you know, anything that you don't see that, man, I really wish it could do that, it can. Whatever you want it to do, COD can do, whether it's COD core, and there's a feature request out for it right now, whether it's something that probably shouldn't go in COD, let's just do a contrib. But since everything's very clean and based on entities and rules and all that, yeah, it's going to be easy to add. Or it's commerce, just use the commerce modules. You know, COD, a lot of what people complain about with COD is either fixed or they're complaining about the wrong thing, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. So let's look at paid registration, very similar to normal registration. So I have the module turned on. The first thing I'm going to do, who's never used Drupal Commerce before? Really? Really? Huh. Very simple. This is the product creation screen. We're going to talk about commerce beyond this. So we're going to create a product here. I'm going to put in the SKU, early bird registration, give it a price of $10. I'm going to save and add another one. This is going to be the regular registration. So I put in the SKU, give it a title, give it a price, and then I'm going to hit save. And now I have 2 products ready to sell to people. Go away. So now I'm going to go back to my event, and I want to edit those tickets and assign the product to those ticket types. So let's go home. I'm going to click on Edit. Now I'm going to go down to my ticket type, and now that drop-down for products is actually going to have products in it. So I'm going to select Early Bird for the first one,